Hi, Nick. This is Jim Gillis with Win My Vote, and I just received your Unity 2020 survey. I think it's great. Would love to talk with you about doing something similar to that, but to much greater magnitude, also much more permanent, something that goes into the future, where it's a real tool where voters can use it. Also, that it goes up and down the ballot, so it's every race on your ballot, including the propositions and the measures. So this is what our ballot looks like. And you can see all the candidates and all the races, and the candidates actually build their own profile and upload them so that it's highly scalable. And to give you an example on one of the advantages on that, I'll show you here. Um, this is the Democratic primary. So Steve Bullock here just announced that he was, in the race. I had never heard of him before. I think he was number 22 or number 23 in the race. So I didn't think anything of it. But as I'm using the Win My Vote tool, I get an email that says, hey, there's a new candidate. I click on him, and then I can hear exactly what he has to say.
Democracy is put up for sale. Today we see evidence of a corrupt system all across America. A government that serves campaign money, not the people. After the Citizens United decision, a lot of folks said game over. But as Attorney General, I refuse to give up without a fight.
Every single state in the union abandoned its own corporate spending regulations after Citizens United, except for one. Except for Montana. Attorney General Steve Bullock has personally fought to keep Montana's elections laws the way they are.
And when we lost, I found another way.
The Honorable Steve Bullock, governor of the great state of Montana.
As a Democratic governor of a state that Trump won by 20 points, I don't have the luxury of just talking to people who agree with me.
You are a Democratic governor in that state who's pro-choice, you're for marriage equality, you've expanded Medicaid, you've expanded spending on education, you've protected the environment from corporate interests.
I go all across our state's 147,000 square miles and look for common ground to get things done. That's how I was able to bring Democrats and Republicans together to fight dark money and pass one of the strongest campaign finance laws in the country.
The bill is a way to prevent dark money groups from controlling an election.
And if we can kick the Koch brothers out of Montana, we sure as hell could kick them out of every place in the country. Look, to be honest, I never thought I'd be running for president. Raised by a single mom, we struggled just to get by. I only knew there was a governor's house in town because I delivered newspapers to him. Now my wife Lisa and I are raising our kids in that same house.
Anyway, he instantly became my favorite so far. So I can favorite him right here. I'm sorry, I'm in a edit mode. I can favorite him here, and I can go back to my ballot, and you can see now he's in first position. He's got 100% of the vote on this ballot, and I can now move on to the next race and the next race, and I can go to the next ballot. I can go to propositions and measures, and I can really fill out my entire ballot. There's so much more that you can do on the site. I'll give you a quick, I'll give you a quick little demo of that. But we first, kind of beta tested the site at the National Association of Student Council and the National Student Parent Mock Election. And the kids loved it. They were able to compare all the candidates side by side and comment and discuss and debate and share and endorse and favorite and organize and manage their vote. So they were able to do everything on the site without any advertisement or any of that type of stuff. And during that process, we said, this is how we should be voting. So the way it works, and this is the site that's up right now, the one that I was just rolling through is kind of the first version. The second version is going to be released pretty soon. But the way it works is that it's totally free to voters as well as groups and organizations or advocacy groups. And you click here to sign up. You sign up as a voter. You can use social media. You go through, you just put your zip code in there, and it will place you in the voting district that you're in by zip code. If there's any conflict, you can click on this little question mark here, and it will take you to a site where you can type in further information to get your exact district. But with that, you can put in political party. And again, you can put in independent if you're an independent, and then you save, and here is your ballot. So here as an independent, right, you're there, and you can see an independent primary, which I'll take you back to the site because I did build one of those. So for example, here, I'm going to change my party preference to independent. And so this is the, the August 1st independent. So as an independent, this is what I would see. And I would be able to, click on this candidate, Dylan Ratigan. Who's Dylan Ratigan? And I can hear exactly what he has to say.
I'm Dylan Ratigan, and I'm running for Congress in New York's 21st Congressional District. I was born and raised here in Saranac Lake and left to pursue a career in journalism before returning about 5 years ago to start a business that makes solar-powered hydroponic greenhouses. While I was working as a journalist in New York, I learned.
So that's when he was running for Congress. I think he should run for president or again for Congress or higher office than that even. But this will give you an idea of this now gives independents anywhere in the country, a platform where they can hear from all the different independent candidates that are out there. And it's not a one-off thing, right? As you can see, I have a whole bunch of different ballots here. So I can show past ballots and go here and, check out other candidates. And then obviously into the future. I can also check on my propositions. And I can click and read the proposition, and I can see groups and organizations that are supporting it and groups and organizations that are opposing it. And if they have videos, I can click straight through and hear what they have to say about them.
Prop 55 protects public education.
And then I can vote on it, and I can change my mind and go back to undecided, or I can change yes or whatever it may be. And then when I go back to my ballot, you'll see that that's changed here. And again, I have a percentage, and this is a percentage of voters that are on Win My Vote, supporting it, opposing it, or haven't favored it one way or the other yet, which is also really good information for everybody involved. So back to the PowerPoint. The way that the new site functions, that you'll have some features here. And by the way, this, is top of the ballot. It goes all the way down to, school board races, as well as propositions and measures. I can hear, I can see my ballots coming up. This is where I'm able to see my favorites and endorsements, and I can edit those and change those. Here I can share my ballot on social media, or I can share candidate profiles on social media. So I would click on that and say, hey, check out this guy. This guy's great. They would come on, look at the profile, sign up for free, and have their own ballot and now be part of kind of this social democracy. Trusted sources, I'll get back to those in 1 second, but my groups, I can form a group so I could administer, big groups, national groups, if that's what my job is, or I can create, Dads Helping Dads, which is a local group that wants to get a local measure or something passed. I can organize that way. This is important dates leading up to the election, so you'll only get a couple of emails from Win My Vote, things like this is the last week to register. Early voting starts tomorrow. Here's an address where you can go early vote. Real pertinent reminders, like that. And then also on the polling place, I can click on that and I can get step-by-step directions to my polling place. I can also add this to any, online calendar, so I can get reminders that way. And I can see just my favorites, and I can obviously print it out, if I want to go take it to the polling place myself, or I can view it on my cell phone or tablet or whatever. So on trusted sources, these are groups and organizations and individuals that you trust. So all the information that you're getting on the ballot is opt-in. So here, I don't have any trusted sources yet. So I would start looking through these groups and organizations. I could also search for groups and organizations that I like, that I trust, that I want to know how they are voting. So let's say if I pick a bunch of these and I say, okay, I'm good with those, and now I'm deciding to see if some of my friends are on there, and I click there, and there is Sarah, so I can favorite her, and now she's part of my trusted sources. And then I can look for Susan, and let's say, someone told me that, hey, she's really sharp and she's really into politics and all that. Well, before I go ahead and select her as a trusted source, I can just click straight through, and I can see the people that she's favorited and her endorsements. And again, if she's, posted them to be public. So with that, I can say, okay, here's Tulsi Gabbard, and I want to see what she has to say about Tulsi Gabbard. So I can watch a video or have a written statement of her there. And then if I want, I can favorite that candidate right there because she's also on my ballot. So I'm just going to favorite her right there. And then when I go back to my ballot, there she is. I can come back a week later and I can change my mind and say, you know what, I'm going to give all these guys a couple of minutes or a chance or whatever. So I can start clicking through the candidate profiles. And I can again see them all side by side. And then I can click down and see issue statements, and I can see endorsements, again, groups and organizations and individuals that have endorsed her. And I can sort those. I can sort them by all of them, the ones that she posts, or I can click on just my trusted sources, just the sources that I trust. That's the only ones that I want to see. But with this one, I want to see all the ones that she's featured here, so I can click on that and listen to Bill and Warren Buffett. And I really like Joe Rogan, so I click on Joe Rogan, and he doesn't have a 30-second endorsement. He maybe has a 25-minute or a half an hour or a 1 hour interview that I can then watch the whole interview. And I really like Tulsi Gabbard, and I favorite her, and then I decide to share on social media with friends. And when I go back to my ballot, she is there, favorited. So I can go to the next race, and I can favorite there, and then I can go to propositions. And again, the same way it functions, you click on it, I can read the whole proposition, the full text. I can see groups and organizations and individuals that are supporting it as well as opposing it. I can click straight through and watch videos, and here's my friend Sarah, and we'll see what she has to say about it. And I really like, her take on it, so I'm gonna click on yes on that. And then I'm gonna go back to my ballot, and you'll see here, it's nice and prominent, green, and I'm gonna be voting yes on 67. One quick thing about the groups and the organizations, they function in two ways. One way as a trusted source. So I'll be able to see all of those online, and I'll show you the real site here as an example. So you can see the format's a little bit different on this one. But the way it works is I would be able to see all the groups and organizations here, and I can click on that group and I can hear what they have to say.
Spoken with her about, she either has an answer to the issue of concern and a way to work them through, or she will find an answer.
She can handle the tough stuff. She knows when to be tough, know when to lay down the law, know when to draw the line, know when to set limits.
Okay, and then I can, here's Casey, who I didn't even realize was in politics, but I really like him and I follow him for some other type of thing. And, I saw his name on trusted sources, so I added him, and I want to hear what he has to say.
Hillary Clinton. I will be voting for Hillary Clinton. I avoid talking politics on this channel, on this forum, because politics are divisive. Tax avoiding, lying, racist, misogynist stays away from power and out of the White House. But it requires all of us coming together. So if your favorite YouTuber says things like, I don't like to talk politics on my channel, or I'm not going to reveal who I'm voting for, call them out. Sitting on the sidelines this time around is not okay. This election is different. And if this guy gets elected, and you...
Anyway, so I just let that run because I didn't see that second half of that, but he was pretty good. But I also think that with a platform like this, you'll see more videos like that. Far less 15-second drive-by memes and those types of things, and far more direct, long form type of endorsements. So the other way that groups and organizations will function will be as a voter guide. So I can click straight through and I can see their page and I can see their ballots, right? And they can have any ballot they want in the whole country. So Unite America, you guys can have, 50, 100 different ballots all over the country. And I can see all the different candidates that you guys are endorsing. And if they're on my ballot, I can simply just click on the star and my ballot gets updated. And depending on the type of group, maybe I am totally sold on all of them and just want to click straight through. That will favorite all of my candidates on all of on my ballot, and as well as all of the propositions and the measures. So now when I go back to my ballot, I can click on propositions and they'll all be filled out, the yeses and the nos. But, again, I have full control. So if I want, I can change that, back to no, or I can, watch it, or I can do whatever. And then from there, I'll click on my own favorites so I can see them real easily, and I can print it out, or I can grab my cell phone and I can find my polling place, and away I go to vote. So when we think that when voters can compare candidates side by side, discuss with their friends and trusted sources, and are able to really organize and manage their vote, then advertising, which is money in politics, just buying advertising, will have little, if any, effect, because again, the millionaire can be right next to the retired school teacher running for school board, and I'm going to give them both 5 minutes, and I'm going to vote for the one that I think would do the best job. One quick thing on your survey, I did Mark Cuban for president, and I did Tulsi Gabbard for vice president. But for some reason, it had Mark Cuban as vice president, and no vote for president. So anyway, just a quick heads up on that, and would love to talk with you. There's other features that I didn't even have time to go into, but I've followed you guys for a while and would love to talk with you. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.